I got to ask you right off the bat here, and we didn't talk about this before we went on the air because I want your unvarnished opinion, as Mama Cornette used to say. Your unvarnished opinion or your first blush reaction to this is, what is the f***ing deal with Groundhog Day? How did this become a thing? Why is this celebrated around the world? Does everybody know now what I'm talking about? Do they think it's just a movie? If over in the UK or Germany or Australia, New Zealand, the places that our voices go out to, maybe they've seen the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray and they think it's something that the wacky Americans made up for a movie. They don't know that it's legitimately a thing. Or is this worldwide? If you go over to Bolivia and you say, well, Groundhog Day, do they instantly know what the fuck's going on?
Well, I can't speak to Bolivia, but I did see something on the news this week, which I found surprising, which was Groundhog Day in the Ukraine.
Well, now, have we imported that to is like it now the United States and Ukraine are the only places in the world that has Groundhog Day, or is it a spreading phenomenon?
Where do groundhogs live?
In the goddamn ground.
But not throughout the whole world. I'm sure there are parts of the world that can't be groundhogs.
What do you think? They live in trees? And then they'd be tree hogs.
Can they live in hot climates? Can they live near the equator?
You know what? I haven't investigated. When I bought real estate in my life, I haven't checked to see whether or not it's groundhog friendly. I know I've had plenty of them. But here's the thing. It just
Have
in
you pulled
case
one out of the ground?
You know what? You can try. They'll fight you on it, but then you can try to hose them and run them and what. But point being, there is, for the international listeners now, I'll briefly summarize that somehow it has gotten to be a thing in the United States of America that there is a town in Pennsylvania named Punxsutawney. And in the town of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, lives a groundhog named Phil. I swear to God, if you're hearing this story for the first time, I'm not making this up. Lives a groundhog named Phil.
People have heard this before.
But I don't know if people in goddamn Australia have in the outback somewhere. They think we're insane. And in Punxsutawney lives a groundhog named Phil. And apparently, because this has been going on for years and years and years, and I don't know the lifespan of a groundhog, but I bet you, if I had to put my money on it, there's been a succession of Phils. But the story has now become that if Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog, emerges from his hole on the Groundhog Day, which is, I don't know if it's the same date every year and it's like a Wednesday or a Thursday one year or whatever, or if it's the first Tuesday or whatever, but it was just this last week, first part of February. If he comes out of his gimmick and he sees his shadow, he will turn around and he will go back in his fucking den there where he's been hibernating. And that means we get 6 more weeks of winter. But apparently, although I don't know if this ever happens, because usually the motherfucker he sees thousands of people gathered around. He sees these people. Have you seen the goddamn Grandmaster of the Groundhog Day Parade? He dresses up in a goddamn top hat and tails and looks like he stepped off the top of a groundhog wedding cake, and he's there as the master of ceremonies, and there's goddamn television lights and cameras and media from all over the fucking country. And here comes this poor little goddamn furry rodent out of his hole to see this. It looks like the goddamn invasion of Normandy coming at him. Of course he's going to turn around and shit himself and go back in his hole. And what do you think? Every year we get 6 more weeks of winter because it's the 1st of February. So what else would we have but 6 more weeks of winter? Because that's how long winter's supposed to last, is another 6 fucking weeks.
It's not 6 additional weeks on top of the traditional end of winter?
No, it's apparently if this motherfucker ever comes out and does a goddamn two-step and does a Michigan J. Frog routine, Hey, hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my rag. And then walks off to go have groundhog brunch with all of the celebrants. Then apparently it just instantly becomes 70 degrees from that point forward.
Spring has sprung. The groundhog has sprung.
The groundhog has spoken. So what I want to know is, how did we, as a fucking society, make a meteorologist or a weather prognosticator out of a fucking rodent that lives in the ground?
What do you think's happening in the ground? All right. We learned our lesson. I'm not going to go for it. Hey, this guy's a sucker. Let's push him. Let's see if he does it.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Is there any more in there? Is it really Phil that comes out, the one that really knows what's going on and can tell and forecast the weather, or is it his fucking brother-in-law Ben?
I forget, and this is a sad question. I probably should know the answer. Does Phil wear a bow tie? Does the groundhog have something that distinguishes it from other groundhogs?
They picked this the fucking guy in the top hat and the tails. I don't know, whatever his name is, Grandmaster Groundhog. He apparently grabs this poor little fucking scared animal by the scruff of his neck and picks him up and holds him. I've seen the pictures of him holding up poor Phil to public ridicule, and Phil's fucking shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds. Doesn't want to be anywhere around this goddamn pervert. Who knows what the fucking guy, the Grandmaster Groundhog, does with Phil after he fucking snatches him out of his hole?
How do you rise up in those ranks?
To be the Grandmaster?
To be the Grandmaster. Like, do you have to start as like one of the flunkies? You have to carry the bag of the assistant Grandmaster, just hoping you can get near the Grandmaster?
You have to carry and clean out the groundhog litter box? Anyway, if anybody out there can shed any light, or perhaps even a shadow, on how the fuck that they all lost their minds up there in Punxsutawney. Now, I know it's not like it's not a big city up there. It's rural. There, it's probably not too far from the Poconos up there and down the road from Schuylkill. They got some strange names for the towns up in Pennsylvania these days, but I would like to know how this became a thing and how this spread and how this happened. Is it mass hysteria? Are these people just bereft of any other thing to do in their lives up there? But the people travel, and the media covers it, and everybody on everybody's local news across this country. The prognostications of a groundhog take precedence over the weather report.
Are there lots of local shops like with groundhog merchandise like year round? Do people go there any other time of the year? Like, this is where the groundhog may appear next year.
What else you gonna buy in Punxsutawney?
I don't know.
They've got groundhog magnets, groundhog shot glasses, piggy banks shaped like groundhogs.
You could take your picture next to a sign that says the groundhog was here with like an arrow pointing down.
Yes. Or you can have a fucking bloody furrows in your fucking leg, whereas the groundhog was here, because them fucking things don't like to be fucked with.